Welcome back in, everybody. Golf Talk Radio with Mike and Billy. So, guys, you guys are with us. It's the second hour of the show. First hour flew by real fast. I got a text from, in case you guys heard the live shot of the day or the attempt twice, Darren Averett, who did the live shot of the day. We're calling him Double D, Darren Divot Averett. He says he put one ball in the bunker, one ball on the green. Titleist was on the green. TaylorMade was on the bunker. He texted me just now. For your information, 3-putted for a bogey with the Titleist.
I knew it.
3-putted for a double with the TaylorMade out of the bunker. Back to all square in the match.
Oopsie.
I love playing golf like that, where you take a Titleist ball and a TaylorMade ball and you just play it against each other.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Tell them to get a Callaway.
There you go. Want to remind you guys, Golf Talk Radio with Mike and Billy is brought to you by Slick Sticks, your key to better golf. Dave Shamandel and Slick Sticks. Clubs, grips, repairs, re-gripping, adjusting loft and lies. Dave Shamandel and Slick Sticks are your winning combination. We're in the Clubbing with Dave segment. And Dave mentioned in the break that we're only a month away from the Masters, which means spring is just around the corner. And it's the perfect time to get your clubs re-gripped. Isn't it, Dave?
And checked out.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And checked out.
And checked out.
I'm taking my clubs down to you, Dave.
Okay.
Yeah,
They
we
need
talked.
it.
We talked, and we said we need to get
Well,
them to Dr. Dave.
Better do it. If you want it soon, better do it soon because I'm going to be out of town for a couple of days.
Going to be home today?
Yep.
Okay, good.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm going down to San Diego for a Fujikura workshop thing. They're going to take us through the factory and tell us all their new shafts.
Oh,
and
that's
that'll be
cool.
pretty cool. Yeah.
That's actually really
Show
cool.
us the
Take notes so you can tell us all about it.
Oh, I'm excited about it. And show us the machine they use to design the clubs, which shows the different kick points and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's really, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun.
And then they got, of course, trying out shafts on the driving range and then pick up a round of golf. And they're picking up rooms and everything.
Wow.
Really cool.
Can you bring guests?
Wow, that's cool.
I'm actually going to take my wife, yeah.
Oh, darn.
That was
But
getting-
yeah.
I tried.
In fact, I was telling a buddy of mine over at Monarch the other day, I said, yeah, they're picking up rooms and food and drink. And as soon as I said and drink, he said they'll go broke.
That's awesome. Have you been there before?
No, never been to
Is that?
Fuji one.
Do you know? Is it in about the same area as like where a lot of the
They're
other
all down
companies?
there.
They're all
Vista.
the same. Yeah,
This
in the
is-
Vista.
yeah.
Okay, man, that's going to be fun. How many days? 2?
2 days.
Oh, that's
Really
That'll
looking
be
forward
really
to it.
fun.
The first day is a long day, 7 to 7.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like a PGA thing.
And they go to if you need points in the PGA, I think you're getting something like 10 on this one.
Wow,
Yeah.
I don't, but I would love to go just for the educational.
I would too.
part of
I'm
it.
really,
That would be-
I'm really looking forward to
That
it.
would be really, really cool. So I texted Dave and Nikki when we were confirming that Billy was going to be gone this weekend. Again, he's away on assignment. He'll be back next week live in the studio with me. And Dave came up with an interesting topic for Clubbing with Dave, which is, do you really know what the design of your clubs, like what's its purpose? And then also from, I think, a teaching standpoint as well, Dave, if you're an instructor and someone has Club X, whether it's like this is a draw driver, I'm assuming this is what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
This is,
Oh, there's so many
this is a
differences
twist
to it. Yeah.
face. This is, whatever. This doesn't have any score lines on it. Whatever it is, do you understand as an instructor what that stuff does, and is it really helping your student, or what does it do the way that you have to teach them?
Yeah.
So-
The reason I brought that up was I gave a lesson that day, and we got about halfway through it, and I was trying to get a point across to the lady, and I just couldn't. She just wasn't grasping it. I said, "Hold on, give me that club," and she gave it to me, and I held my 7-iron up to her 7-iron, and said, "What do you see different?" And she had one of those hybrid type irons.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, "What do you see different?" She said, "Well, mine's a lot bigger down on the sole."
Yeah.
And I said, "Exactly. You know why that is?" She says, "No." I said, "So when you actually can hit down on the ball, you're not going to dig into the ground and like bounce on a wedge."
Yeah.
And so don't be afraid of hitting down on it because it's going to glide across the top of the ground. She went, "Oh." And she just hit it flush for the rest of the lesson. because she understood what the club was supposed to do.
Right.
And why that little design feature was in it. So yeah, and like you say, offset sometimes. Lady wanted to be fitted for a driver, and I didn't have any offset demos, and she took my and she was playing an offset, and she could hit just a little fade with her offset, and then you give her a driver with a square face, and she's hitting it dead right. And I said, I really can't help you because, it's going to be too much work for right now until you improve your swing to play with it. So, you got to understand, you have a high-hitting club, a low-hitting club, and, some people say, I can't get the ball down. And you look at their club, and it's a hybrid-style iron or something like that. And I said, well, it's going to hit everything up in the air.
Right.
And I really do think it's handy to know what the club was designed to do before you can make it do it.
Well, not only as a player, but as an instructor.
As an instructor also, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting you brought that topic up, too, because a couple days ago we got the, and I know you have the wedge thing. This one's a little bit different, but we got the Mac Daddy 4 Callaway wedge deal where you get like 16 wedges. And the thing that I love about that is like a lot like the seminar you're going to go to at Fujikura, like seeing all the wedges,
different grinds,
all facing upward, see all the different bounces, the different grinds, and when you see them all in the bag, as an instructor and even as a player, you're like, oh wow, there's a lot to this. Like,
oh yeah,
like, and as I'm looking at the bag, and we just opened them up, and I'm looking, I'm like, man, I really like the way that looks, and then it just happens. This gentleman comes in, Jeff comes in, he plays at Paso Golf Club all the time, and he starts looking at the wedges. So it turns into this whole conversation. And he says, this is really funny. He goes, because I have a 56-degree wedge. He goes, my 56 has like 12 degrees of bounce. And he goes, but I use it on everything. I use it soft grass, hard pan. And he goes, I do great with it. And he goes, and I go, that's really interesting. I go, because look at this one. Look at this 56 with 12 degrees of bounce on it. Well, the sole of it, like you mentioned with the ladies' club, the sole of the wedge he has looks like a hybrid. It's so flat.
Oh, okay.
Which makes sense to me, at least, and this makes sense to you, as to why he could even use a club like that with that much bounce on hard pan.
right.
Because the sole is so flat, the leading edge is almost non-existent on the wedge. And I took the other wedge, the other Callaway, and we both set them on the ground. And I stood back probably 10 feet from the clubs facing them, and they're on the ground. And you can see the Callaway wedge. It's actually the leading edge is off the ground. There's a gap. You could slide a credit card under it, and if you
tried a Matchbox car under it.
And if you tried to use that on hard pan, unless you're doing some kind of really different kind of setup with the wedge, like an extreme forward press, or you're
move it back in your stance,
move it way back in your stance. That thing's going to hit the equator of the golf ball every single time. So what was really cool about it was, here's this bag of wedges again, just all these different designs. Jeff will be the first one to say he doesn't understand all this stuff. I don't even understand.
Very few people do, really.
No, I know enough to be dangerous, and I lately have been really looking on the internet and trying to really educate myself on the new technology that's coming out. And then to see like this one wedge they have, which is a 60-degree Callaway Mac Daddy 4 with 12 degrees of bounce.
Mm-hmm.
In my lifetime, I've never seen that. Like my lifetime is a 60-degree with 8 degrees of bounce.
Or 6 or
whatever.
Or
6. Yeah. And the sole is really thin.
There's the eye, and there's the rub.
Yeah. And it's a whole different animal.
It's called effective bounce.
Okay.
Because you can have a wedge with 14 degrees of bounce, but the effective bounce could be much less, for the simple reason you could have a very narrow sole.
Yeah.
So even though it has the angle measurement is fairly extreme, the effective bounce is much less because there's not that much of a sole. If you have a sole that's like an inch from front to back, 8 degrees of bounce becomes huge. Where if you have a very narrow sole, like 3/8 of an inch, then what the club will do off the ground, how it will react is very different. So the size of the sole and then the grind that's on it, too.
That's what I was going to say. The grind can really change the way you use a club to be able to use it more than one way.
Yeah, Swing Science, one of the companies I work quite a bit with now, they've got their 56, actually it's a 54-degree wedge, has 14 degrees of bounce on it. But it's got huge relief on the back of the sole. It's almost like a V shape.
Huh.
And so you can still lay it back, and the leading edge doesn't pop off the ground on you. So, yes, there is a bounce number, however many degrees it is, but the effective bounce is much more important.
Yeah. And that was a new term to me.
Yeah.
Like I looked it up that day on the air. I was going to ask you exactly what you just brought up, the effective bounce. Because as I'm looking at it, at those wedges, what my eye sees and what my eyes used to is the thin sole. So it's your standard Cleveland 588s.
Yeah.
Your Vokies over the years. You just don't see. You don't see, like, even from a company like Callaway, you don't see some of the designs that I saw a couple days ago at Paso Golf Club. I mean,
I haven't seen those yet.
They're
It'd be
so
interesting
different.
Checking them
It's
out.
so fascinating to me, and the cool thing is they're all demos. So you go out and obviously you got to have a pro with you, but because that's part of the program. But you go out and you can go around your little pitching chipping area and try out these 3 or 4 different setups, and I think, like you said, which is your topic, Dave, which is so important. With myself as a PGA club professional and as a player, understanding what those different things can do for you as a player.
Or against you.
Against you, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's even more important.
And it's complicated. It's really
amazing.
complicated.
It's amazing anybody can get a right club at any point when they don't have someone that knows what they're doing to help them.
Yeah, I think that's the key thing, is to have somebody explain it to them, because the players shouldn't have to be all that knowledgeable about what clubs they're using, because there's just so much involved with it.
Yeah.
But if they can find somebody reputable that can take care of them and fit them properly, then they're golden. I think we get too hung up on what the magazine says the clubs do, and this year we're hitting it 30 yards longer than we did last year, and last year we hit it 20 yards longer, and the year before that we hit 15 yards longer. And I think we're now heading at 730 yards in the air.
You should be driving par 5s by now.
And we're talking wedges.
Well, that's funny you said that, because as an instructor, I think that's one of the things, and even as a player, but from an instructor perspective, I mean, that's so important from a teaching standpoint, to ask the people you're working with, like, how much are they reading? How much are they really digesting? Because
Go ahead.
because if you start talking with a student about something, and then maybe what you're saying is contradicting how they've comprehended an article
Or a video.
Now they're really messed up.
Sometimes that can be so detrimental.
Yeah, and then you as an instructor are you're not gonna understand, like, I've tried the same thing 5 different ways, and it's not being comprehended. So then you start feeling like, what am I doing wrong? Because the sole purpose is to get them where they want to go.
And sometimes if you just call timeout and say, look at the club, and it really is just kind of common sense sometimes what the designs will do for you. But you talk about guys reading and watching TV and stuff like that. I had one guy, this was a few years back, but he wanted to make it on the senior tour. And so he's taking a lot of lessons. And I said, okay, I'll help you out when I can, but, get away from, Golf Channel and magazines and all that. And he said, okay. I said, now just really don't, because you get so much conflicting stuff.
Yeah.
And he said, okay. And so he promised he would not do any of that. And one day we were in the middle of a lesson, and he says, what if whatever it was, da-da-da-da-da. And I looked at him, and he said, what? I said, USOB. And he said, what? I said, I watched Golf Channel last night. You're busted. And he went, oh, I'm sorry.
That is awesome. That is so awesome.
But yeah, he had the terms and everything that was on Golf Channel. It was like rewinding the tape.
Yeah.
It was funny.
But as someone who plays the game and wants to get better and is not in your guys' situation, I also I have a desire to get as much information as I can to make myself get better. I mean, that's the theory you have in your head.
But that's part of the game.
Yeah.
That's part of the enjoyment for a lot of people. That's part of the game.
Yeah.
I think I go back to Dave's point that I think is very, very valid, is that every year the magazines say that this club does this. Mm-hmm. But just saying the club does it, there's a lot more than just having the club to do it. And a lot of people don't take it that they're looking for the magical fix.
They want that magic pill.
Yeah. So they get the club, it doesn't work. They go to YouTube, they go to wherever, they get the videos, and a lot of the videos out there are good, but then they start cross-threading everything.
Yeah.
And that's where you get problems.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you, but what I'm trying to say is I understand the desire to try to help yourself get better.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
If you
people
care.
think that, maybe if I this or that.
Yeah.
But I see both sides totally.
Yeah.
I read a lot of stuff, but I discard it pretty much unless I feel like it really fits my situation.
Right. No, that's good. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue some of this conversation. I think this is a great topic, and we probably can keep rolling with it. Dave, with Slick Sticks in the spring coming up, what you got? I mean, obviously, regripping your clubs is one of the best things anybody can do.
Oh,
I mean,
had a guy come in the other day, and I could see myself in his grips. They were so glassy. I saw my hair was all messed up, and I combed it out, and it looked a lot better. But pay attention to those things, because your grips go bad slowly, and you don't notice.
Yeah.
And it's kind of amazing and you do the same over at your club.
Yep.
It's amazing some of the stuff you see come in. You go, my God, how did you even hold on to that thing?
So,
yes.
What are you talking about? A year? 2 years?
Why don't we let's
okay.
We'll come back with that, because that's great. That's a good lead in. So,
1 year.
Dave Schmandel is slicksticks.com, 805-598-9993. Slicksticks.com, your key to better golf, 805-598-9993. Mr. Dave Schmandel.
Personal friend of Double D.
Yes.
There you go.
You guys stay with us. Golf Talk Radio with Mike and Billy. Be right back on the Golf Talk Radio Network.